What's up guys, this is Chris here, and today we've got a fun video for you. Today we're going to talk about one of my favorite guns, pistol caliber carbines, specifically my 5 favorite pistol caliber carbines. Now there's not going to be a lot of criteria for this list other than the fact that I think they're awesome, so bear with me on that. This list isn't for everybody. This is not a list of the best PCCs for the money. This is a list of my personal favorite pistol caliber carbines. So before we get into the video, I do want to mention my Patreon supporters. Thank you guys very much. It's because of you we have a lot of these guns on the channel, and we really appreciate your support. If you want to support us, just go to the link in the description below and sign up. Also on that description is a link to a local shelter in Ames, Iowa. It's the YSS. Those kids could really use your help, so please go down there and donate to those kids. And then finally, I want to thank the sponsor of this video, the Sonoran Desert Institute. The SDI has been a sponsor of the channel for a very long time, and we appreciate them. They are an online university specializing in gunsmithing and all things firearms. If you're interested in getting a cool career in firearms, if you're interested in getting into drone technology, gunsmithing, some artistic work on stocks, you can do whatever you want in the gun world with an education from the Sonoran Desert Institute, so go down there and check them out. All right, now let's get right into the video with number 5, and number 5 is going to be the Chris Vector. I saw this gun originally, I think in like 2004, 2003 on Future Weapons with Mac, and that kind of dates me. And they put a whole bunch of cool new guns on there all the time, specifically guns that were of new technology and kind of look space age. And ever since then, this gun has been in every cheap action movie and sci-fi movie you can imagine, and I love it every single time. The gun is futuristic looking, and it's very functional as well. I'm not saying anything bad about the functionality. It's probably not as good as an MP5, but it's pretty close. Now, it uses the Super V design, so it has a different mechanism when it comes to controlling recoil than the standard MP5 with its roller delayed design. More so, the bolt kind of travels down into the grip here, and that gives you an interesting recoil impulse that works very well in full auto and pretty good in semi-auto. The trigger is good, the ergonomics are good, the looks are astonishing. It is a 5-inch 9mm or 45. It came out in 45 ACP, but I have mine in 9mm, partly because of ammo cost, but mostly because this gun takes Glock magazines, and I have like 109mm Glock mags, so it is a match made in heaven for me. You'll see more of that here in a second. The trigger's good, the safety's good. The back of the stock folds, so that's kind of nice. It can be a really small package, and a gun like this can fit right inside a backpack, and it makes for a really good PDW in my personal opinion. So you have cheap magazines, cheap ammunition, good quality gun that's reliable and accurate, and it is pretty good on the recoil. Not the best, but pretty good. You can shoot relatively fast, and on top of that, it looks very Call of Duty as well, which I appreciate. Now, there's one big downside to this, kind of keeps it from being in the top positions for me, and that is going to be the controls on the weak side. Unless this is an SBR and you have a vert grip on it, which is kind of what this mechanism was designed for, you end up kind of causing a lot of problems for yourself. Accidentally dropping the magazine and or holding the bolt closed is really easy to do when you're gripping on this side, so be fully aware of that. And on the other side, occasionally you can accidentally stick your finger in the ejection port, and that definitely sucks as well. Now, other than the controls, the gun's pretty sweet. Comes in somewhere between $1,000 and $1,500, depending on what model and where you can find it, which makes it a pretty middle-of-the-road, duty-grade PCC that I would definitely recommend for self-defense, fun, and plinking if you're good with the controls, and if you really like how it looks, because that's honestly why I bought it. Now, at number 4, we have a significantly cheaper gun. We're going to be talking about the M&P FPC. Now, I know the response just came out, but I actually prefer this version. We did a full 2,000 round review of this gun, and it was 100% reliable, which is insane. Not only that, but we did a full torture test with this. I hit this against barrels, we beat it up, we threw it in the mud, sand, I threw it into a pond. We did everything we could do to this to break it, and we didn't. Yeah. There we go. As a matter of fact, we even broke our Comp M4 while testing this $500 gun, and we didn't break the gun. So the cheap rail, so I thought, and the cheap accessories held up when the military grade Comp M4 did not. So pretty impressive on the reliability, durability, but it also takes M&P mags, of which I have an absolute ton of them, and it does this little neat party trick right here, where it folds completely sideways, making it a very small and capable package. No need for an SBR tack stamp. It's not a pistol, no brace, anything like that. And you still get a really, really small package that is reliable, and you can fold it out super quickly, unlike that Kel-Tec stuff. Now, I prefer this. This is my favorite folding carbine because of the price. It's under $500 in a lot of cases, which is crazy. 9mm, reputable, easy to find magazines, M-lock rail, 16-inch threaded barrel. Drawbacks are going to be, I don't absolutely love the stock. The charging handle is okay, and the magazines that fit into the back of the stock are cool, but the release, I think, is in reverse. Other than that, the gun's pretty impressive. I think it's going to be probably the best for the money as far as self-defense carbines, at least on this list. I like it because it folds. It's my favorite folding carbine, but it's not my favorite overall carbine, as you'll see here in a second. Now, number 3, I don't currently have because I'm in between models. It is the Sig MPX. Now, I've had the MPX Copperhead, I've had the MPX Gen 2, Gen 3, and the PCC version, and I like them all. Now, depending on which job you want it for, you might want a different barrel length. If you're looking at for a competition style PCC or a home defense only style PCC, you may want the 16-inch version because it gives you more velocity and it's easier to shoot, and it's legal without an SBR tack stamp, which is really cool. Personally, I like the shorter versions better. I had the 16-inch for a long time, but just recently sold it to my buddy Nick, so you could probably see it on his channel. Now, I like the MPX a lot because it is a piston design as opposed to a straight blowback, and I think the piston design gives it some of the lowest recoil on the market. Not the lowest, but pretty close. It's also a reliable design with removable accessories that you can take off the rail and like one pin swap. You can do all kinds of cool stuff with the MPX that is extremely modular. It's basically a 9mm MCX, which is currently the US military rifle, so that's pretty cool as well. And it also has been used in special operations in the 9mm version, although I'm not sure how successful it's been. Now, it's not the absolute most reliable PCC we've ever had on the channel. It has a couple malfunctions here and there, but it is pretty reliable. It is unbelievably accurate and fast, and it has the same ergonomics as an AR-15, and it has that military cool factor to it, which I personally like. I love the MPX. It's not my favorite, but it's really good for number 3. At around the $2,000 price point, I was close between choosing this or the CMMG Banshee, but I set them both aside, and I figured if I had to pick one, self-defense reasons, I would go with the MPX, so that's why it's on this list, but the CMMG Banshee is real damn close. Now, in at number 2, is my baby. This is my MP5K, SP5K, sorry, not quite as cool. It's the semi-automatic version from H&K. Now, you can get a lot of different clones of these guns for a little bit cheaper, but I don't think it's real unless it says H&K on the side. Do they act any differently in operation? Absolutely not. If you get a BTR, will you notice any difference? Nope, you won't. Same build quality, same reliability, but I prefer the H&K version just because it was the original. I'm the same guy who buys Colt 1911s. They're not any better than any other 1911. They just are the original, and I like that for collecting purposes. And the MP5 is the coolest gun in the world, in my opinion, so I had to get a real one. I like the MP5K a little bit better than the standard version because, I don't know, it's in more movies, I guess. It's a little bit shorter, lighter, more compact, and it makes for, in my opinion, the best PDW on the market. As you can see right there, that can fit in any bag, and you have a force multiplier from a platform which is extremely accurate and reliable. One of, if not the most reliable PCCs in the world, definitely the most military tested, one of the most popular subguns in the world, and it also happens to have the lowest recoil action in the world with the roller delayed system, making the MP5 the king of PCCs for the last 50 years or so. Till this year. The cool thing about the MP5 is you can switch out the lowers. The upper is actually the serialized portion. This is going to be a little bit different. Now, the MP5 is the OG when it comes to modularity. You could pop this pin out and you could replace the vert grip with an M-lock rail or anything that you want. You can replace the lower and you can replace the stock literally with a couple of push pins, like you were taking an upper and lower receiver off an AR-15. You can switch out the whole gun, and that's super dope. Reliable, needs almost no cleaning, very little lube. We've shot 2,000 rounds for this one. I've only lubed it once, and I have yet to clean it. It is absolutely bomb-proof, reliable, and absolutely dope, but I feel like there is one PCC that is slightly better. Now, this gun comes in at a hefty price. You can get them somewhere between $2,400 and $5,000, depending on what the market's doing and when the last time HK shipped them into the country, but I think it's absolutely worth it, and if you're looking for the most iconic subgun or PCC, this is it. Now, I am including the big version in that as well. The small version is the K that comes in with the 5-inch barrel, and the original version, which I also own, which you're seeing footage of right now, is the 8-inch version. I feel like the K is a better PDW, and the MP5 original, the 8-inch version, is definitely the better subgun. So if you want just home defense, you're not gonna put it in a bag or anything, I'd get the bigger one, has a little less recoil, and a little bit more real estate on the front of the rail. Overall, there isn't much bad to say about the HK MP5. It's cool, it's reliable, it's accurate, it's fast, but it is very expensive as well. One of the last things that does kind of suck about the MP5 is if you want to get the standard steel, awesome, reliable magazines, they are relatively expensive. Same with the MPX as well. It's going to be even more expensive for the mags. That is where a lot of the guns on this list so far have had the advantage. The Vectors mags or Glock mags are very cheap. The FPC is Smith mags, they're very cheap. And then when you get in the MPX and MP5, you got to pay to get in the game. That being said, let's get into it with number one, and this is going to be probably not a surprise to people who watch this channel, but maybe a surprise to people who don't. That is going to be the JP5. Now, the JP5, in my opinion, is the next best thing. It uses the MP5 design, but whereas the MP5 lacks in the ergonomics and controls, the JP5 actually uses the same roller delayed system. However, it's even more modular, and it uses AR-15 controls, which in my opinion are significantly better. Now, not only do you get the controls, but you get to use drop-in AR triggers, stocks, grips, and then obviously you get a full M-LOK rail right out of the factory. So roller delayed system, in my opinion, is the best system for pistol caliber carbines. Very low recoil, very, very reliable. We already have 1,000 rounds through this. You haven't even seen it on the channel yet. That's how much I love this freaking gun. And I also have another JP5, which you guys have seen a lot, which I have thousands of rounds through with no failures as well. Super fast follow-up shots, unbelievably accurate. The most accurate PCC I have ever fired. 6-inch targets at 200 yards occasionally can be hit by this, and at 100, no problem. I've ran tons of plate racks at 100 yards, even with cheap ammo with this. Barrel quality is literally second to none. Build quality is second to none. The M-LOK rail even has its own silicone carbide on it, which feels really good when you grab it. The trigger on it is better than anything you've ever tried. The JP5 trigger that came in this gun actually is better than all of my Geissele triggers that I have in ARs. Check this out. Wow. And the reset is even better. That is like custom 1911 quality. I'm absolutely in love with the trigger. On top of that, the ergonomics are great as well. Not only do you have ambi controls, unlike a lot of the other guns on this list, but it actually has an ambi bolt stop and release as well, which is super nice. So you don't have to go on the other side and hold it. You can hold it with your finger right here, or you can drop the bolt after the reload with your index finger, which if you practice is a little bit faster. So it is really the best of both worlds when it comes to the AR-15 and the MP5. Now, what does it not have that the MP5 does? Well, it doesn't have the military track record, that's for sure. The MP5 has been time tested over 50 years of duty use, and it's still kicking, whereas the JP5 was just released last year. However, it does have several world championships under its belt already, which is pretty impressive considering the limited amount of time that this one has been out. Now, I obviously SBR'd this because I love this gun, and this is my go-to PCC. Do I think it's the best for everybody? Absolutely not, because it is $3,000, and most people would notice very little difference in the operation between this and a standard blowback 9mm. If you're not on the clock, if you're not shooting on YouTube, if you're not trying to look good on the gram, or if you just don't want the absolute best or fastest possible thing, in my opinion, this is a waste of money for you. However, if you want the best, if you want the fastest, if you want the lowest recoil, you never want to malfunction, and you want to hit headshots at 100 yards, the JP5 is your girl. I'm going to recap here a little bit. If you're looking for military grade awesomeness, I would probably take the MP5. If you're looking for the fastest possible gun, I would probably go with the JP5. And if you're looking for something on a budget, the FPC, in my opinion, is a great gun. So overall, I think there's a little bit on this for everybody, although these still are my 5 favorite, and the JP5 is certainly my favorite, and it is the only carbine I currently shoot for fun. So when you're not seeing me shoot for the channel, I actually don't shoot any of these guns besides my MP5K and my JP5 as far as 9mm goes. And these are just trainers for my AR-15s, which is nice as well. That's the other thing I should mention about the JP5 is you get the reliability and the low recoil of the MP5, but you essentially get a trainer gun for your AR-15 as well, because not only are all the controls the same, but you can actually use the actual accessories that you have on your AR-15, which in my opinion is priceless. You want to work those reps and you want to make sure that you have continuity between all your firearm accessories. That way when the time of stress arises, you don't think, you just operate. If you want to see more PCC lists, I can do that. I've got a ton of them. Just let me know in the comment section below what you want to see. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. Peace out, Oklahoma shelters, and remember to recycle. I'll check you later.